Let's apply to Gutenberg College. We'll start on the Oregon Goes to College website. From the College Info menu tab, choose Apply to College, and that'll take us to a page that has a lot of really great information about what we need to do to prepare to apply. That includes a list of documents or materials we may need to gather to have with us when we fill out the forms, and some tips and tricks to help us be successful when we actually do that. I am already knowing that I'm planning to apply to Gutenberg today, and I've gathered all of the materials I'm going to need, including making sure that I have written my essays and I have them typed up, ready to go, and available in this extra tab so I can copy and paste them into the application when it's time to do so. And I'll continue to scroll down this page to find the table of colleges in the state of Oregon, and I'll choose the Independent Not-for-Profit Universities tab of that and scroll down to find Gutenberg. Before I click, I am going to check to see what the application fee is, and I see that there is an application fee, and it is based on when I am applying. And so I just need to know that I have a credit card or debit card or some other way to be prepared to pay that while I'm completing my application. I'll go ahead and click on the link, and it will take me to the college's website and to a page on their website that is about admissions and applying, and gives me a little bit of information and then offers me the opportunity to learn how to apply. And then I find a button about that takes me to the application itself. If I were to scroll down, I would find some additional instructions, and I definitely want to read those. Today, our goal is to complete the admissions application, which is required, and then I will have 2 additional applications that I may need to fill out as well. But today, we're looking at the admissions application, and that's this big red button here, and we'll go ahead and click that to get started. So now we have if we have already created an account, we would go ahead and log in, but that's not true for me. I'm a first-time applicant, have not started this process yet, so let's create our account now. And we start by entering our first name, and they're looking for our legal name, so that is the name that is on our legal documents, things like our high school transcript, our driver's license if we have one, that sort of thing. So our legal first name. And you'll notice here that there are red asterisks next to some questions and not next to others. The red asterisk indicates that this is a required question and I have to complete it in order to be able to move on. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I do have a first name that I prefer, one that I want them to call me, so I'm going to go ahead and enter that here. If you don't have one, you can leave that blank. They want to know my email address, and I'm choosing to enter the email address that I am using specifically for my college applications, and it's the one that I'm checking on a regular basis, at least a couple of times a week, so that I know that I can stay on track with all of my college things. Enter my phone number here. And the phone type is, what kind of phone is that? And for me, that's my cell phone, so I'll choose mobile, and an address. Now, for me, I have an apartment number, and so I like to add that into the second line of the address. So if you have an apartment number, you may enter that there as well. City, choose my state, so I'll scroll down to Oregon, and my zip code. And then when am I planning to apply? So I'm entering in the fall. My plan is to graduate in June of 2021 and enter college the fall immediately after, so that is also 2021. And once I've done that, I can go ahead and click continue. I need to create a username and a password, and so I'm going to go ahead and do that. and I am making sure that I am going to write that down in a safe place so that I remember what it is, both my username and my passwords. And go ahead and click Submit. So I have an account and I am ready to begin, and so my first step is to log in and begin the application. So now is the time when we can start to begin the application. And again, there's a reminder here that I will need to also complete an application for financial aid and also complete an application for the residence program or to live on campus. So I'm going to go ahead and log in to start my application. No, I'm not. So that seems to be a broken link, but I think that I can still get to where I need to go in order to log in. And so I remember back on the admissions page in the admissions overview, there was an option to log in if we already had an account. So let's try that. And I remember I started here in how to apply. And I clicked this red button. And yes, so now we can try this returning applicant. And so log in to continue our admissions application, and let's see, and that does bring us to a login page. So if you have the same challenge that I did, that is a workaround. Hopefully, when you click that button, it will take you immediately to this page and you can log in using the username and password that you tried before. And I was talking, so didn't quite get that right. Let's try this. And it worked. So here we are, and we can begin. So you'll come back here to do all of your different applications, including the admissions application. And I'll go ahead and click in to get to my application. And on this page, I can see that there are going to be several different parts. It looks like 6 parts to the application that I'll need to work on. And as I work my way through this, I will move further down. So some of this has already been filled in because I provided it earlier as I was creating my account. And so we can see, and I just want to check to make sure as I'm going through that all of this information is accurate, that I typed it in correctly. And the first blank spots that I come to are about my permanent address. And so a mailing address is where we want the mail to come to us. A permanent address is where we live. Oftentimes those are the same, but sometimes they are different. For me, they are the same. So I am going to go ahead and just fill this in again with the same information. But if you happen to have a different permanent address than where you want your mail to come, you will fill in a different address there. And a birth date, and they want that in month, day, and year. So oops. And I was born in Corvallis, Oregon, and my citizenship. And you'll just want to provide whatever is correct for you, of course. Now I am being asked to provide information about my race and ethnicity, and so I'm going to go ahead and do that here. And I can select more than one if that is true for me and choose my gender and social security number. Now, if I'm applying for federal financial aid, I will definitely want to make sure that I'm providing my social security number here. And if I have any former last name. So this is if I ever have had a last name different from what I currently have. So maybe I was adopted, maybe I got married, maybe I have just changed my name for some other reason. We'll enter any previous names that we used here. We already told them that we were planning to apply in the fall of 2021. and when we graduate from high school, and I can either type this in or I can use the calendar to pick the date. Maybe I cannot do that, so we'll just go ahead and write this in. And whether or not I plan to apply for financial aid, and whether or not I plan to apply to live on campus. And so remember that if I say yes to either of these, there is a separate application that I'm going to need to complete. Information about whether or not we're married. And of course, if we're not married, we don't need to fill in this information. If you are married, you will need to fill that in. Go ahead and click Save. And it didn't like the way that I wrote the date, and that is for, I think, my graduation. So I didn't share a day, but I can go ahead and do that now. So the day that I'm graduating, they want to know as well. And it's 2021, so it's good that I was able to go back and check that out. And save. And I think that that is saved, and so I'm going to scroll back up and click to start part 2. So now I'm in part 2, and they're looking for information about my parent or guardian. So I'm going to first start with my mom. And her email address. And her phone number. And her address, which is the same as mine. And so we just keep typing those same things in, and I don't have a second parent or guardian that I want to provide information about, so I'm going to leave that blank. Click Save. And it appears to have done that. I'm noticing that there was a slight change in color here, so I think that means it saved. And I'm going to go to part 3 and share information about my school. So the first thing that they're asking me about is my test scores. And in order to apply to Gutenberg, I'm required to submit either SAT or ACT scores, and those need to be submitted by the test companies, and there are some codes there, so information about how to go about doing that. There's also some information about who might be not required to submit test scores, but I'm going to go ahead and let them know which tests I took, and so I will say I took the ACT, and I took that in February of 2020. My guess, since they required the full date last time, they might require it this time, so I'll go ahead and enter that. And then I'll need to send them my tests. Same thing with my high school transcript. They're asking, my high school is required to send that transcript. And so here what they want to know is, when did I ask my counselor to do that? And I did that earlier today, so I'm going to go ahead and put in today's date. And then they know that that is on its way. And now I have the opportunity to tell them what else I might be sending, and I am applying before having graduated, and so I won't be able to send my diploma until after I graduate. And so they're wanting to know when that graduation date is, so I will provide that again. I did provide it on an earlier screen, but I'll provide it again. If I've attended other colleges, then I will need to also have college transcripts sent. I have not, so I'm going to go ahead and say no. But if you have, you'll click that you've attended another college, and you'll let them know the day that you requested your transcripts, just like we did for the high school. Now they want to know about those schools. So all of the high schools and colleges that I've attended. And so I attend Corvallis High School in Corvallis, Oregon. And I have done that from September around the 6th of 2017 to, I again, my graduation date, and it will be a high school diploma. I don't have a second school or a third school, so I won't fill those in. I'm going to go ahead and leave those blank, but if you've transferred high schools or you've attended any college, you'll want to enter the information there. And if you have anything beyond 3, you'll want to provide the exact same information just in this box here. Have I earned any awards or activities? So looking for awards here, and I don't have any, so I'm going to go ahead and say leave that blank and try to move on to submitting my essays. And I am required to submit 2 different essays here, and I thought that I might be able to submit them as copy and paste, but in this case I'm going to need to submit them as either a PDF or a document. And so let's go ahead and see what that looks like. So submit essay 1, and I need to provide my name and the title of my essay here. So my name is Olivia Charlotte Miller, and I'm going to provide my full name, and I'm going to call that Why Gutenberg. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on this button to browse for the file in my computer. Okay, so I was able to find my essay on my computer, and so you may have your essays saved on a computer, or you might have them saved on a thumb drive. Either way, you're going to click on the Browse button and go through your files to be able to find the essay that you're looking for, and then go ahead and click Submit. And I have the option, if I want to view that. So let's see what that looks like. So it would just allow me to open that document to make sure that I had submitted the correct one. And I can click down. So I've done my first essay, and now I'm going to do my second essay. And it's going to be the exact same. I'm going to provide my name. And this one is Why Christianity is what I've titled this one, and I'll go ahead and click Browse and do the exact same thing. And so you see that I have done that, and I have my second essay there, and I can click Submit. And again, I could view it if I wanted to make sure I uploaded the correct one. Then I will move on to part 5. And here it's a reminder that I'm going to need to submit 2 recommendation forms, one that's a character recommendation and one that's an academic recommendation. And I'm going to send a reference form request by clicking this button. So what happens is I let Gutenberg know who I want to submit those references on my behalf, and they will request them from those people. Before I do this, I have already checked in with both of the people that I'm about to have Gutenberg request a form from, and so they know that's coming. So I definitely want to talk with them before I ask the college to send a form. And I need to enter my account number that they tell me is a 6-digit number found at the top of this page. So if I scroll up, there it is. And I can choose that, calm down, copy, and I have copied it. I'm going to paste it. My recommender's first name is Jim, and his last name is Johnson, and his email address, and they're going to email him some information about this. And so I'm going to click Next. This section is a recognition or an acknowledgement that I am going to waive my right of access to this letter. What does that mean? That means that when Mr. Johnson sends my letter of recommendation, I am saying, it's okay, I never am going to have the opportunity to see this. So I need to sign to say that that is true for me, and or that is I agree to that, and the date is already there, and then I can click this button to send that request on. And that recommendation has been sent, and I now need to send the second one, the character recommendation. So I'm going to again add my account number. So remember that that is up here. I can copy and paste it, and I've just used keyboard shortcuts for that, but you can either remember it and type it in, or use your mouse controls to copy and paste. And then I'm going to go ahead and enter in the next recommender's first and last name and their email address as well. And click next. And this is the same thing. Do I waive the right for me to see this letter? So is it okay for me to never have the opportunity to see this letter? And I just made a mistake and put in the recommender's name, and that of course is not what I'm supposed to do. I'm signing my own name. So I'll do that. It is already dated. Send the request. And if I scroll back up, it shows me that that has been sent, and I now am on part 6. So now I need to affirm or agree that I have read the biblical foundation statement from the college, and I have read that. I was able to find it here on the website. So if I click this link, so if you have not yet read it before you submit your application, you'll definitely want to make sure that you read that statement. So you can find it here. You'll read through that. And so, yes, I've read it. Enter the date that you've read it, and I read it before I filled out this application today. So I'm going to go ahead and enter today's date and click Save. You'll definitely want to make sure that you have read that before you click Yes and move on. And I'm now down to, I can check the checklist to see what they've gotten from me, and they have received just about everything that I need them to. And the next step is to submit my application with payment. So I'm going to go ahead and click Review and Submit. And here's all of the information that I've already shared, so it's the opportunity for me to review it and make sure that I have entered everything correctly. It's requiring a former last name if I have one, and I don't, so I'm going to go ahead and put in NA for not applicable and try again. And I'm going to go ahead and continue on this page, and it says that I'm required to provide information about a second parent. I don't have that information, so I'm going to say NA on each of these. Well, we'll go ahead and choose Oregon here because it won't let me say none. NA on each of those and continue. And on this page, I had already entered this, but it didn't take. So if you come upon a challenge like this, you'll just need to re-enter the information that we had entered the first time. I won't take the time to do that now because that seems like a little bit of a waste of your time. So let me do that off camera, and I will be right back. Okay, so I have filled this out while I was off screen, and on any that I didn't have an answer for, I just did NA again for not applicable, and I am able to then continue. And I, yes, have submitted both essays, and I'll go ahead and click continue. I have, yes, submitted the 2 recommendation form requests and click continue. And I can acknowledge that I did this. And so when I click submit, I have applied to Gutenberg, and if you do the same, you have as well. Congratulations. And after you do that, you will be asked to pay the application fee. And so congratulations. What a great job we've done. Thank you, and